I said, this is not going to carry me home. And I'm determined to live, and I want to live. It was in January 2019 where I would have done my regular checkups. I had no signs of anything. I did my checkup with checking my breast in the shower every morning. Didn't see no signs, didn't feel anything. And January of 2019, I did the mammogram. The result came back 3 weeks later that he did not like the mammogram result. So he's gonna send me to do an ultrasound. He wanted me to do the ultrasound ASAP. I said to him, if I'm going to do it earlier, that means I have to go private, don't have the money. So I said, we'll have to wait until April. April came, we went and did the ultrasound, and the ultrasound showed that I would need to go and do a biopsy. It was on the 9th of July 2019 when she says, I have no good news, and I said, let me know, tell me what it is, I'm here. And she says, we found that your right breast is cancerous. So I said, okay, let's get your diary and check to see when we can do the surgery. She said, but you're not even making me finish. I says, yes, you can finish, but I made up my mind. I want it removed. I think my brother and my friend was already there.
And right there and then, we just agreed on what the steps are and the way forward. My sister was ready, and I would even say eager. She said, if you got to take it off, take it off, right? It wasn't going to be my first choice, but it was her decision that I had to respect.
Said that that's the decision I wanted, and they even said, you know, you're going to be flat-chested. I said, I don't mind. I don't mind. Beauty is not my number one thing when it comes to health. My life is important. I know things are going to change. I know my body's going to change. I'm prepared for that. I serve a God, and I know I have a lot of prayer warriors out there, so I had nothing. So I then asked, can we do the biopsy in the left breast? And if that come back that it is positive, we're going to remove both. And I've had 2 cousins around my age that are breast cancer survivors. And she said, Theolinda, I have good news. We found no cancer in the left breast. And I screamed at work, and I was so happy. I then called my brother and I told him, I said, we'll now break the news to my mom, because all that time my mom didn't know nothing. And everybody said, are you going overseas? I said, no, I'm going right at Mount St. John's. Everything is done at Mount St. John's. Radiation was done at Cancer Center, and I'm telling you, the Cancer Center is a wonderful place.
The time leading up to that, preparing for surgery and so on, was a very anxious moment. I think surgery was sometime in September 16th, somewhere around there. And, you know, being there in the morning, helping her to get ready and all of that and go in. A little chilling feeling, but it was also good knowing that, okay, help is on the way.
I was just lying there, and I said, your grace and mercy. And then I had everybody in that room was singing. While we were wheeling down, I said, can we stop? And we pray again, and we started singing, your grace and mercy. And I think going in with this positive attitude is what's helped me. The surgery went very, very well, very successful. Did surgery the 16th of September. stayed in the hospital for 2 days, went back every day to change the dressing. Well, thank God during chemo, I never had the vomiting and the stomach cramps some persons had. Some people could not eat, some people could only eat certain things. I never had that problem. And then coming down to the end of chemo, you know, my body started feeling a little tired. I want to rest and stuff like that. Daytime, I stood up in the mirror and I says, wow, wow. When I was going through radiation, I couldn't wear bra because my skin was so sensitive, I could only use vests. I saw a person staring at me. It didn't matter to me, and when they asked me the question, I said, yes, I only have one breast. I had to go like that for weeks, maybe about 2 months. It was either me wearing bra and going through stress where it's going to get to my skin and my skin is going to start to peel off, because that's what was happening. Because I was trying to say, okay, let me wear the bra. And then after I saw what was happening to me, I said, pride don't feel no pain, right? So I put on that vest and I went to work. I go to town because I didn't take off much sick leave, you know. My co-workers and them say, isn't that yesterday I did chemo? I said, yes, I'm fine. I did chemo today. I went to work the following day. I did radiation in the morning, left from radiation, I went back to work.
She was very determined to not let cancer keep her down. Sometimes she came to work after treatment and I would say, Miss Charles, why are you here? And she said, I'm okay, I'm doing well, you know, I can manage. And I said, you sure you don't want to go home and rest? She said, no, I'm fine. And it's very heartwarming to see that even in the midst of her challenges, she still tried her best to make sure that every other aspect of her life, that she still had some semblance of normalcy.
Maybe one time I might have said, why me, Lord? What have I done? I never said it to anybody. I just said it, you know, being me alone in my room. And I said, why me? And I would lay there and cry. And I says, I've been always good to people. I've been always doing this, you know. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to let this dampen my spirit. I'm not going to let this be depressing to me, because I know I'm going to help somebody. And I've seen that I've been doing that.
Breast cancer is not a death sentence, right? Especially when there's early detection. I think what caused lots of persons to go down is because they go into deep depression and stress, and it causes damage to their bodies as well. My sister was positive, extremely positive.
Still getting women who don't want to do it, but I'm still encouraging women, go and get a mammogram, especially if you have a history, because sometimes you don't. Like with me, I never had no sight of it. I never had no pain. I never had nothing. So it comes in different stages. The first thing I remember asking, do I have to change how I eat? And they said, no, just cut down on the portions, like the sugar intake, the fat and the salt intake. So I did not have to change how I ate. I would say to a woman who's thinking that if I get breast cancer, or know that I get breast cancer, I'm going to lose that husband, or I'm going to lose that man. If it's so bad that you have to lose it, you have to lose it. Your life is important. And if he really had loved you, he would have loved you beyond your breasts. Having a diagnosis as breast cancer is not something that you alone can manage. It's not something that you alone can go through. And anybody who said, I can manage on my own, no, you can't. Theolinda is just doing the tablets every day, the leprosol. That's the only thing I'm on because my hormone is fine. Everything is good with me so far. So I don't have to be doing no injection like some persons are doing. And Theolinda is just living life. Still volunteering in Diabetes Association, Breast Friends, helping my little elderly people in my church or my village, having fun with my family, man, just living life one day at a time.